Well, a big warm welcome to everyone. Great to have this event, and every year I think about this event being a culmination of the work the foundation's able to do leading up to it. And this year, more than ever, we're having more and more of an impact, as you can see, and as what has already been shared with you. I can't thank you enough for all of you that are here that support us, for the great support we have with so many great companies that stand behind us, Neil and the Comcast team and the Carla Group and Johnson & Johnson and General Motors. And, we wouldn't be here without all of you getting behind us. So thank you so much for that. I want to recognize all of our distinguished guests, incredible group of people that we have here, especially our Gold Star family members. And yeah, please. And then also General Neller, sir, and Admiral Mullen, thank you for being here tonight. Good to have your leadership in the room. I'm sure, really, if you're here tonight, you know Travis's story well as the story of his roommate, Navy SEAL Brendan Looney. They're part of a generation of service members who put it all on the line, really, for the rest of us. And really, I think what's important, unique to generations past, they stepped forward as volunteers with our country in conflict longer than any time in our nation's history. Today, you think about these guys in uniform, like Travis and Brendan. They do have other choices. But they believed in something bigger than themselves, and most importantly, they love this country, and they would do anything to protect it. And while I miss those guys and all that we've lost tremendously, I feel like they're really with me every day. They inspire me to get out and spread the word as much as possible to ensure that everyone is reminded that there are still service members deployed defending our freedom, and that there are others that really they'll never be back home. They won't make it home. And while these heroes are no longer with us, their legacies to continue to inspire many others. Their commitment to selfless service and strength of character represent that next greatest generation of military veterans. I remember the first couple of days after we lost Travis. It's a feeling that I'll never forget. The raw emotions and realization that you'll never see someone you love so much again. I also remember pulling Janet and Ryan together and sharing with them as a family that we needed to stick together, continue to do what needed to be done, what Travis would have wanted us to do. To some way take this horrible, negative event, some way make it positive, some way inspire others in the spirit of those that have this strong belief in something bigger than themselves. And from that point, the foundation got started. With Janet showing up every day with those 5 words, rallying so many behind her, if not me, then who? And to see how the foundation has impacted so many now, I know it's got to make Janet and Travis and Brendan very proud. And while Travis and Brendan's story has inspired so many, I tell you, if they were here, they'd be the first ones to tell you that it's not about them. Their story is our story. They are a representation of all the brave men and women who have served and who continue to serve this country. You know, I lost my son, Travis, that day for sure. But when I think about this brave generation of warriors and how they have made me so proud as an American, I feel like now I've got hundreds of sons. Guys in the room like Carlo and Croft, Joey, Terrence, Big Rig, Jimmy, and I could go on. And guys that never knew Travis, like Keith Palmer, like last year's If Not Me, Then Who recipient, Jake Harriman, who's here with us tonight. They served in the military when their country needed them, and now they continue to serve, sharing that legacy of character with the next generation. So we have a responsibility to go out into our communities and to share their stories. It's not good enough anymore for us to sit back. We've got to do something. We've got to get engaged. Fewer Americans are serving today. Fewer communities have veterans serving as leaders and teachers and coaches. So now more than ever, it's critical to share these stories of these selfless patriots and pass on the values instilled by their military service. As an extension of making sure that we tell the stories that need to be told, each year the foundation honors the post-9/11 veteran who has demonstrated character and service both in and out of uniform, by selecting him or her to receive the If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award. Really, when you think about this award is the embodiment of what we are as an organization. I remember being invited with my wife Janet to so many black tie events after we lost Travis and seeing the recognition and the awards for our senior leaders and feeling such a noticeable gap with honoring our post-9/11 vet warriors. And I remember Janet turning to me and saying, Tom, you know, if we ever end up having a gala, I want to make sure that the centerpiece of that evening is about the selfless heroes of this generation. Well, Janet's never been able to be here with us physically, but I know she's here in spirit as we celebrate and share the stories of these incredible patriots. These stories all have a very similar start. Ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And that individual's actions inspires others. And the next thing you know, you have an army of individuals stepping forward to make a difference, big and small, that have a huge collective impact and at the end, make the world a better place. This year's recipient, Leif Babin, is one of those exceptional individuals who is inspiring others. As a Navy SEAL, he deployed 3 times to Iraq. Like many that have served in the war on terrorism, he served in a combat zone, had to come home only to redeploy and repeat that process multiple times. He is part of that next greatest generation that have kept us safe since 9/11, no matter what the individual cost. And when he finally came home for good, you wouldn't fault him for focusing on himself, but instead, he continues to impart his knowledge on the next generation. He's the co-author of a New York Times best-selling book, Extreme Ownership, which continues to have tremendous success. He's launched a management and leadership company called Echelon Front that builds and trains high-performing teams. And he's a board member of the Little Warriors Foundation, supporting children of members killed in action or wounded. Let's take a deeper look now into the story of Leif.
Each year, the If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award, presented by Comcast NBC Universal, is presented to a post-9/11 veteran who has demonstrated remarkable character both in and out of uniform, and an unyielding dedication to helping others thrive in their communities. This year, the Travis Manion Foundation recognizes and honors Leif Babin, a former Navy SEAL officer and co-author of the New York Times best-selling book Extreme Ownership, How U.S. Navy SEALs Lead and Win. Recipient of the Silver Star, 2 Bronze Stars, and a Purple Heart for his actions during 3 deployments to Iraq, Leif returned from the battlefield to serve as the primary leadership instructor for officers graduating from SEAL training, sharing his experiences with the next generation of SEAL leaders, including Travis Manion's close friend and Naval Academy roommate, Brendan Looney. When Leif Babin completed his military service in 2011, he sought new ways to serve and discovered that his leadership skills were an asset not only in the military, but in the civilian world as well. He launched Echelon Front, a leadership and management consulting company that teaches others how to build, train, and lead their own high-performance winning teams. Today, Leif speaks on leadership and national security matters to organizations around the country. And his editorials have been published in the Wall Street Journal and National Review. Leif also serves on the board of directors for the Little Warriors Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping the children of U.S. Navy SEALs who were killed or wounded in action. For his tireless dedication to preparing the next generation of leaders, both in the military and in the private sector, we are proud to name Leif Babin our 2016 If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award recipient.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my distinct honor to present the 2016 If Not Me Then Who Leadership Award presented by Comcast NBC Universal to Leif Babin. Leif.
I got some cool music. I guess JR didn't make the cut there. Thank you, Colonel Manion. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you to Dave and the extended Manion family and to the entire Travis Manion Foundation team, and to all you in this room tonight for your generous support of an outstanding organization that's making a huge difference. I am deeply, deeply humbled to receive this award. I'm grateful to be a small part of the massive impact that you're having. I want to thank my amazing wife, Jenna, who somehow manages so gracefully to balance being a wife, a mother of 2 young children, including a very stubborn little wild man who's very much like me, with her career as a Fox News anchor. She encourages me, inspires me every day. When I get frustrated with others, when I make excuses, when I cast blame, she reminds me that I wrote a book called Extreme Ownership, and I ought to demonstrate it. I also want to recognize my parents who are here with us tonight, U.S. Congressman Dr. Brian and Roxanne Babin. They taught me the value of hard work and perseverance and patience as they were forced to discipline me on almost a daily basis well into my teenage years. All well-deserved, certainly. But they encouraged me to follow my dreams, pursue military service to the Naval Academy and beyond, and they still do. Thank you, Mom and Dad. When Ryan called to tell us that I've been selected as this year's If Not Me Then Who award recipient, my immediate thought was negative. How can I respectfully decline this? I feel in no way worthy of this award, and I still don't. If not me, then certainly there's somebody else out there that deserves it a lot better. Last year's recipient, Jake Harriman, who's here with us tonight, is a close friend, a Naval Academy classmate. We were actually roommates at the Naval Academy for a year and played rugby together, and I'm very familiar with the amazing things that he's doing through Nuru International, combating extreme poverty in Africa. Jake is having huge impact in the world, and I'm very proud of what he's doing and honored to call him a friend. I've never been to Africa, and I haven't done much to feed the starving children of the world. But I did deploy 3 times to Iraq, and what we did there to help Iraqi children was put bullets into bad guys, a lot of them. We witnessed the impact that these lethal operations had firsthand in helping to liberate a local populace terrorized and living in fear under a brutal reign of terror from an insurgency. In 2006, as a SEAL platoon commander, I deployed to Ramadi, Iraq, with SEAL Team 3 Task Unit Bruiser. Ramadi was the capital of the volatile and deadly Al-Anbar province, some 30 miles west of Fallujah, where Travis Manion would soon be sent. Through what's now called the Battle of Ramadi, we served alongside courageous, Marines, and soldiers under the leadership of the Ready First Brigade of the U.S. Army's 1st Armored Division, as they implemented a bold strategy they called Seize, Clear, Hold, Build to take back the insurgent-held city. In 6 months of continuous urban combat, our SEAL Task Unit killed hundreds of enemy fighters, disrupted scores of insurgent attacks on coalition forces, and we did our utmost to support and protect those brave soldiers and Marines as they boldly pushed into dangerous al-Qaeda-controlled neighborhoods, constructed permanent combat outposts, and fought against the terrorist insurgents. Ultimately, the Seize, Clear, Hold, Build strategy stabilized Ramadi to a point previously unimaginable. In that victory, we witnessed extraordinary heroism by SEALs, by Marines, by soldiers that we fought alongside. And with them, we forged a lasting brotherhood and bond through the bloody trials of urban combat. That victory came at a very heavy cost. Over 500 U.S. troops wounded and nearly 100 killed in action. And of that task unit bruiser, we lost Mark Lee and Mike Mansour, the first SEALs killed in action in the Iraq War, and Ryan Jobe, who was blinded by an enemy sniper round and later died of complications following surgery to repair those combat wounds 3 years later. These losses were devastating. As Mark and Ryan's platoon commander, they were teammates, brothers, and friends. It's a burden that I will forever carry with me. But war does not merely deliver burdens and tragedy. The lessons we brought home proved invaluable and vast. Lessons like humility, ownership, and teamwork. Lessons like leadership is the most important thing on the battlefield, the most critical factor in whether the team succeeds or fails. By leadership, I don't mean just the senior officer in charge. I mean the crucial leaders at every level of the team, all the way down to the frontline troopers who stepped up, took ownership of their piece of the mission, led, and got the job done. Of the many exceptional leaders we served with, SEALs, soldiers, Marines, it wasn't their charisma or bravado that made them great. It was that they took absolute ownership, extreme ownership of everything that impacted their mission. These leaders cast no blame, they made no excuses. Instead of complaining, they identified problems, developed solutions, and won. Their egos took a backseat to their troops. These leaders truly led. And from everything that I've come to learn about Travis Manion, that is exactly the type of leader that he was. If not me, then who? In the years since I left active duty, we've worked with leaders in businesses and organizations across the nation and internationally. The most successful men and women and the most successful teams exhibit this same mentality. Extreme ownership is not just for leaders in combat or business, but for life. I never had the honor to know Travis, but I knew of his story through his best friend and Naval Academy roommate, Brendan Looney. I'd come home from that deployment to Ramadi and been assigned to run SEAL leadership training. This is the program for all SEAL officers that were graduating through our basic SEAL training pipeline. I tried to pass on all the lessons that I wish someone had taught me before I was in those difficult combat situations. Of the many outstanding leaders I mentored through that program, one of the best I saw in 2 years was Brendan. He was a standout performer among SEALs, among his SEAL peers, and he carried with him the legacy of Travis to honor his service and sacrifice. I hadn't realized how close our circles had come and nearly overlapped until I learned more about Travis's story. As I returned from my second deployment to Iraq, Travis was departing on his second deployment there. Only a few weeks after I'd returned from Ramadi, Travis had deployed to nearby Fallujah, just down the road. And there, he made the ultimate sacrifice. Brendan went on to serve at SEAL Team 3, where he became a highly respected combat leader, always epitomizing that if not me, then who spirit in all that he did. And tragically, Brendan gave his life in Afghanistan in 2010. How fitting that these two best friends, these warriors, now lay side by side in Arlington National Cemetery. My wife, Jenna, first connected our family to the Travis Manion Foundation back in 2012, where she was invited by Ryan to MC the first ever, if not me, then who, Gala. Jen and I ran the Marine Corps Marathon with Team Travis and Brendan that year, and I was proud to honor the legacy and sacrifice of these brave warriors in that race. And now, here we are on the 5th iteration of this wonderful event. I have to reflect on all that you, TMF, and your supporters have accomplished since that time. The impact that you've had, the difference that you've made across our nation. There's much that's happened in my life since as well. In August 2011, I found myself in New York City, having just left a Navy career in the SEAL teams that I love so much. Jen and I were newlyweds. We just moved into an apartment together, and we were taking a break from unpacking to have a margarita at a little hole-in-the-wall place right down the street. I was scheduled to begin my first semester of law school. We needed some drinks about then. Nothing was happening as planned or expected. Word from the battlefield had just arrived with tragic news. A U.S. helicopter had been shot down in Afghanistan, killing all aboard, including a number of SEAL teammates and a close personal friend, Brian Bill, who'd been at our wedding only a month before. It was yet another reminder of just how short life can be, that we got to make the most of the days that are granted to us. And I decided 3 years of law school wasn't for me, but what the hell was I going to do with myself? At that hole-in-the-wall restaurant in Hell's Kitchen, Jenna asked me, what is the thing that you're most passionate about? I thought for a moment, combat leadership. No question, combat leadership. Coming back from that intense deployment to Ramadi, passing on the lessons learned to the future generation of SEAL officers like Brendan was one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I loved helping those young officers learn from my mistakes, hopefully not repeat them. I tried to teach them everything that, looking back, I wish someone had taught me. And when they went on to deploy to different battlefields in places like Afghanistan, they came back and told me of the impact that these leadership lessons that had been taught had on their success. I love that, I told Jenna. And I mentioned that my SEAL teammate, Jocko, and I had talked about finding a way to take those lessons we'd learned and pass them on to others outside the military. And I'll never forget, Jenna turned to me and said, that's what you should do. Go outside, give Jocko a call, start a company. And I did, and that was it. It was a way for us to pass on the good that we'd learned on the battlefield and honor the legacy of our teammates that had made the ultimate sacrifice. For 5 years since, that's what we've done. We've worked with nearly 200 companies, perhaps 1,000 leaders from all walks of life, passing on the leadership principles we learned in combat. With the publication of our book, Extreme Ownership, we've heard from more people than I could have ever imagined. They tell us how this mindset, this attitude literally changed their lives, made them a better person, a more engaged spouse, a better parent, a better teacher or coach, a stronger employee, a more engaged and active member of their community. That, to me, has been the greatest reward, a way to honor those who paid for our freedom with their lives and a way to pay our service forward to the nation we love, we believe in, and that we know is worth fighting for. Thank you for this amazing award. I'm humbled, and thank you for all that you do. If not me, then who?